Today we're going to be sketching our final egg drop design, and what I have is I have a couple of designs that Mr. Lauco and I drew, and so we can see this is the blue foam one that we saw in the slideshow. This is the spiky one with the cotton balls inside. This one right here was the stockings inside the box, and this is the one with peanut butter and the egg put into a peanut butter jar. So what I've done is I've numbered them 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1 being my favorite design, and 4 being my least favorite design for our competition. Number 4 here was way too big. This wouldn't have any chance of winning. Number 3, the egg could fall out because there was like a large hole in it. Number 2 is also fairly large, and number 1, well, it's the closest I have to the size that might survive the fall. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw this as our final sketch. I do want to mention that in one of the videos they said that this idea doesn't actually work, so which is fine, because I'm going to just give it as a sample, not necessarily as a good idea. So, one thing, if you have a printer at your house, I am going to post this sheet onto Schoology so that you can use this as your sheet. If you don't have a printer, that's not a problem. In fact, I'm not going to use this sheet for mine. There is a newer version of this that actually labels this top view, front view, and right side view. So, all right, so what we're going to do is we are going to take a blank sheet of paper, and we're going to make our own version of that. So what I'm going to do is I want to divide this into 4 equal spots. So the easiest way to do that is to take the sheet and fold this in a really clean way so that this edge is matched up with the one beneath it. I'm going to open it back up, and then I'm going to turn it the other direction, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to fold it just like that. And I'm going to get a really nice clean crease there, so I have a couple of nice lines here. Okay, so now I have my 4 squares just like I did on the printed version. So what we are missing, however, is the reflection line in this corner. Now, there are a couple of options you can use to get this line. If you have one of these, this is a triangle. This angle right here is a 45-degree angle. So what I can do is I can set this at the bottom of the sheet so that the bottom of the triangle and the bottom of the sheet line up perfectly. And I can slide this over until we're lined up on the bottom and we are lined up with this point in the corner. And what I'm going to do is I could draw a line there, okay? But that's not all. There's another trick that you can use. This will work with any square sheet of paper, but it'll also work with a Post-it note, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this Post-it note over so that that is lined up corner to corner. And when I do that, this angle right here, just like our triangle, will have a 45-degree angle. Okay, so I'm going to line up the bottom edge of my Post-it note with the crease in the paper. I'm going to line up the tip here with this line, and going to mark a beginning and an end point. Okay, so this point and this point, my piece of paper is not going to make a very good straight edge. So what I did was I'm created a start point and an end point. And now I can take any good straight edge. You can use a ruler with a nice edge. This one actually has a metal piece in there. I could use something that's straight and plastic, something like this. This right here. It doesn't have to be, you know, a triangle, but it could be anything that's got a straight edge on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up the beginning point and the end point. I'm going to make sure that those are lined up so my pencil touches each of them at the right point. And I'm going to draw that 45-degree line in there. Okay. So now my sheet looks very much like the printed sheet that I posted. Okay, so if you are just printing it out, then this is where you are going to start. So the drawing that I want to draw is this, and I'm going to have my front view in this square and my top view in this square and the right side view here. Remember, we want to draw these pretty large so that it takes up the space really well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to box in my front, top, and right side views. I'm going to start in the front view and I'm going to draw both sides of the jar. I'm going to draw the top. And all this is a rectangle that boxes in. Everything I'm going to draw is going to fit into that rectangle. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring that horizontally over into the right side view. Same thing with the bottom. I'm going to bring this up into the top view. Like so. Okay, so I have this right here. This is going to be a circle though. You can see in this view that it's circular. So we're probably going to want to use the trick that we used previously in sketching. And we need to, we'll use a sheet of paper like a Post-it note to make this happen. But we need to know where the center is going to be. Well, we don't have a top and the bottom for our top view, so we need to find the center in our front view. So what we're going to do is we're going to very lightly draw an X in this front view, just like so. And so this point right here, we're going to say that that's center. We're going to bring that straight up. Okay, and so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to check my work here. I'm going to say from the center to the outside is about right there, and from here the center to the outside, hey, they match. So we're in good shape. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a point where I want the center to be, and I'm going to pick about right there. That's going to be my center mark for my circle. Okay, and so now I'm going to take my Post-it note with my mark on it, and I'm going to do what we did before, and I'm going to mark regularly each one of these around the circle. And you can see I'm getting a curve forming. And I like to rotate my sheet of paper to do this. Okay, so now I have the points that can make my circle, and I'm going to connect them to the best of my ability to make a really nice clean circle. Yours might not be circular, so this will not be as relevant to your drawing, but this is the sort of care that I expect that each of you are going to do on your sketches. This should be a very clean, very quality, neat sketch. Alright, so when I look at this, this part looks good. This up here doesn't look perfectly circular, so I'm gonna go ahead and erase that corner and see if I can't make it look a little bit more like the rest of the circle. Okay, so something like that looks pretty close. So what I need to do, now that I have a top and a bottom for the top view, what I want to do is I want to transfer that over to the reflection line. I want to transfer, once it hits the point where the reflection line is, I want to transfer that straight down. Being very careful to draw this perfectly vertical is to the best of my ability. And keep in mind, I'm not using any tools to make this drawing happen. A sketch is a freehand drawing. It's typically what we call a quick freehand drawing. We're taking a little bit more time on this one. But okay, so now I have the front and right side views boxed in, the top view, I guess, circled in, and so we're ready to continue on this. The first thing I want to do is I want to clean up my drawing a little bit, get rid of some of the straight lines that are not needed for continuing. It's most important to get rid of the lines that are nearest to the drawing. It's okay if some of the lines are left up in this corner, but you do want to clean it up as much as you possibly can so that you have a nice clean drawing for this. Okay, so I'm also going to get rid of this X. So now what I'd like to do is I would like to draw the cap for this, and so the way we drew this is it's sort of rounded at the top and it goes down to about here. We're going to transfer that over. So if it's rounded here, it'll be rounded here. I'm also going to round the bottom edge of this cap. Same thing's going to be true on the right side view. I'm going to round this off. And if you make a mistake, no big deal. Just go ahead and erase it and repair it. Okay, so that is generally rounded. I'm going to go ahead and erase those top corners. And I'm going to darken this in because now we know that those are lines that are going to stick around. Okay, So now we need to think about the shape of this. The bottom of this is also rounded, a little bit more so than the top. And you can go online and find pictures of actual jars or boxes or bags or whatever you're using. You can probably find a good example of it online, or you might have it lying around the house. That way you can actually look at what the jar or object looks like and be able to draw it really accurately. To go ahead and sketch this in a little bit darker. That line got a little too thick, so I'm going to draw it thinner but darker. Okay, so that is my container for the most part. I might go ahead and draw in my center mark for the circle up here. Remember, a center mark is a center line in both directions. I can also bring that center line, because this is circular, I can draw center marks for this. Because of this is a longer center line, I will have two short marks, like that. And I can transfer through my top view and get that in the right side view as well. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and erase a couple spots in here to make this a center line. Okay, so darken this in so you can see it well. Now this is going to help me identify where the egg goes, because the egg should be centered within this. So you can see that I have a couple of hidden lines. I've got like the top of where the peanut butter goes. And remember, this design, the peanut butter is partially empty, right? Like it's not fully filled and you're shoving the egg into it. You kind of hollow out the peanut butter to get it kind of stuck in there. Remember, I don't know if this is a good design or not, but so we're going to draw as hidden. Even though you would be able to see the peanut butter in a lot of peanut butter jars, we're going to draw as hidden because it's behind the glass of the peanut butter. Okay, so, and for this, I'm really going to draw sort of a wavy hidden line. And that's supposed to represent the top of the peanut butter. And I'm going to generally bring this across, and I'm going to do the same thing over here. Just a wavy peanut butter line. Okay, the next thing I need to do is I need to put the egg submerged in this peanut butter. Okay, now I've got to think about how big is my egg going to be. I think it's going to be that big and maybe down to maybe there with the egg, somewhere in there. Now an egg-shaped oval is a little bit more difficult, and it's a little narrower at the top than it is at the bottom, and so you're just going to want to do the best you can at drawing sort of an egg shape. It's more rounded at the bottom and more oval shaped at the top. Something like that. I'm going to erase this and darken this in. Oh, you know what? Because the egg is inside the container and because it's inside the peanut butter, the egg needs to be drawn as a hidden line. So what I like to do is I do draw it first a little bit lighter and then erase it, come back and draw it as a hidden line later. So I erase it, but I want to still see where I sketched it. And then I go through and I add my hidden lines like that. Okay, so that looks like an egg to me within the peanut butter, and yeah, so that looks pretty good. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to transfer that egg into this view. So we're going to transfer over from the front view into the right side view. Okay, I want it to be approximately this wide, and we're going to go ahead and sketch that. Remember, it's more oval shaped in the top and it's more rounded in the bottom. Okay, so that's approximately egg-shaped, so I'm going to erase those lines and so I can still see where they were, and I'm going to draw that as a hidden line. And when I'm drawing this hidden line, I might make slight adjustments to the shape to make it more egg-like. Okay, so now I have front view, right side view. And what we need to do is we need to transfer that into the top view from both views. So I'm going to transfer it straight up from the front view into the top view, each side of the egg. And then I want to bring from the right side view up through the reflection line over to the top view. Very lightly, because we will be erasing these lines after we're finished. Okay, so what we have here is where we're going to draw this circle. Now, what we can do is we can sort of gauge whether or not this is right by checking it again here. There's that mark. That looks very close. That looks very close from here to there. But this one looks a little bit short, so we're going to bump that out a little. So we're going to go ahead and use our trick with the Post-it note to get a really nice circular hidden line. And this is hidden, so what I'm going to do is, as I'm doing this, I'm going to actually put the hidden line in. I'm going to put the dashes in as I make this. You can see how I'm sort of making a circular hidden line here with my sheet of paper. From the top view, the egg would look circular. All right, and then after you're done drawing the circle, it's always smart to take a look at it and make sure that everything looks circular about it. Okay, so now this is a fairly simple version of the egg drop design. Yours might be a little more complex, might have more components to it, but this one's just a jar, some peanut butter, and an egg. So I'm going to erase my construction lines that I used to get this. And so now what I would do is I would just make sure everything's nice and clear. So things that you're going to be graded on in this stage are going to be how accurately you've drawn it. You can see that my top view is directly above my front view. My front view is directly beside my right side view. If you go through the reflection line, they will line up. So my drawing is accurate. Line types. I used visible lines for the outside visible lines. I used hidden lines for the things that you wouldn't be able to see or would be hidden behind other surfaces, such as the peanut butter and the egg. I used center lines for any circles. This is a center mark because it's center lines in both directions. Center mark in this direction for the circular can. Notice it's from proportion. You can imagine a peanut butter jar and an egg within that peanut butter jar. You can see that this is relatively close to proportions, and it needs to be neat. So make sure that you're getting full credit for making sure your drawing is following all of the things that I'm discussing. Okay, the first stage of this final drawing is finished.